Let me share with you something that mattered to me more than anything else when I was in elementary school. Here's a picture of it. See, this was important to me because I was kind of bullied when I was in grade school, and this karate trophy made me feel like I was no longer a kid to pick on. But as I got older, it didn't mean as much to me. Now, when this happens with stuff, it's really not that big of a deal. When you stop caring about your old stuffed animals, your baseball card collection, or that jacket you loved so much as a kid, that's just part of growing up. But there's another side to this whole value thing that I want to talk about today. And that side is the human side. Sometimes without realizing it, we treat people in our lives the same way. When they can do something for us or give us something back, we consider them valuable or important. But when they don't, well, that's when we begin to treat them like they've lost their importance. That's when we start treating people in ways that are less than they deserve. We start saying things about them, thinking things about them, or treating them as though they aren't at all special or important after all. Now, I know we might not all be doing this, or some of us might be doing this without even realizing it. But it's important to talk about because it's a big deal, especially when it comes to things like sex and dating. Some of you might not even be interested in dating right now, or maybe you're not even allowed to date yet. Still, I want you to stick with me because this stuff is important not just for today, but for the day when dating might be a part of your life. The way we treat the people we're interested in or spending time with matters. The way we value them with our words, our actions, and even our thoughts is extremely important. But no matter how it happens, the truth is, when we don't treat others like they have value, we wind up treating them like objects instead of people. Objects that might have meant a lot to us when we first caught feelings or started talking. Objects that now just don't seem to have the same value unless they're doing something we want them to do. Instead of seeing someone as who they are on the inside first, we might begin to see them simply as a body or a personality meant to give us whatever we want. The fact that they have their own thoughts, desires, emotions, and hearts, well, maybe we just don't seem to notice or care. How do we start changing the way we treat people so that we're not only giving them value, but receiving it for ourselves as well? So what does this look like once we're back to school or joking with our friends or running around at practice or alone with our crush? When we're tempted to make jokes or participate in behaviors or treat someone else a certain way just to get what we want in return? Well, the next time we find ourselves in that position, we can ask ourselves a couple of questions. First, what would it look like for me to treat a person in this way that honors God? Maybe instead of joking about their body, you should just be the person who speaks up to stop it. Or instead of allowing your mind to wander in directions that aren't honoring another person, you should remember that God made them to be loved, not used. Whatever it might be for you, don't go another week without working to treat other people in the way that honors God. And the second, do I believe I have value to God, others, and myself? Now, some of us, before we can treat others like they have value, we have to first believe that we deserve to be treated well ourselves. See, if you don't respect yourself and your body, it's going to be hard to value others or know what it means to be valued by others. So if you're not sure that you would confidently say yes to every part of this question, I want to challenge you to tell someone that. Tell your small group leader, landing leader, a parent, or another trusted adult that you need help discovering some of your own God-given value. This might just be the most important step that you take to begin living a life where you know that you have value and can treat others like they have value too. I think it's important to take a few minutes and make sure we know what God has to say about all of this. First, we should know that God made each of us, and because of that, we are valuable. We have value simply because we are made by God. And beyond that, other people have value because they're made by God too. So about 2,000 years ago, Jesus was having a conversation with some really smart people. These were religious leaders and lawyers who had started to really dislike Jesus. And these religious leaders would often confront Jesus and try to get him to say something that they knew would go against God, just to prove that he wasn't worth trusting. In this encounter we're going to look at today, a group of religious leaders had approached Jesus to debate, question, and try to catch him saying the wrong thing. Finally, one of them spoke up and basically said, "Okay, Jesus, what's the most important commandment that God has for all of us? What's the most important to him out of everything else?" Well, to answer, Jesus said something that they didn't expect. Something that I think can help change the way that we treat everybody. Check it out. Jesus gave us such an incredible answer here. And it's an answer he gave because I think he wanted to be clear about what matters most to God. To love God with all that we are, and to treat other people the way that we want to be treated. In other words, God cares about the way that we value other people. If we want to follow God's greatest command, we have to start with value, not just for ourselves, but for everyone around us as well. And this applies to sex and sexual desires. We have to start caring about and practicing sexual integrity. Remember that sexual integrity is choosing to respond to sexual things we feel, think, and desire in a way that respects ourselves, others, and God.